Steph from the Canadian Schoolhouse, and I'm here with Barbori today, who is also lovely to work with at the Canadian Schoolhouse here. And we especially have her on because I bet actually you just have all kinds of experience and having fun in the summer, Barbori, and learning lots of things through your life, but you've actually written an article that we posted recently on our site. So Barbara's going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to talk about some other fun summer stuff that we can do. Maybe, as most of you probably do, either you don't do school at all, you don't do any of that formal learning time in the summer, or maybe you're just like me. I don't take a break because I would have a hard time getting back into it. So me and the kids, we just learn all summer long with that formal stuff, but still we are so much more casual in the summer. And I like to take in some of these learning opportunities that only the summer really affords. There's only so much we can do in the winter as far as learning, especially where the outside is concerned. Actually, the winter has a lot of learning opportunities too, just very different for outdoor learning in the winter. Um, so I'll go through just a couple things we got going on at the Canadian Schoolhouse. So you can put that screen for Christine. Christine, who's in the background, which is usually she is also on here sometimes. But so we'll talk about the virtual family retreat. So go to that web address, virtualfamilyretreat.com, and you're going to see what we did last November for this. Last year was our first year, but this is an annual event, and we are already planning for the next one coming up in November. So we encourage you to go and check that out. You'll just see 4 days of 4 videos, which we did recording on each of those different days for this live event that was just really about. I kind of thought about it just strengthening the family the way that God has directed us to, and just getting insight from other parents and other homeschoolers on how to have a stronger family and just stronger faith yourself. So that's really what that's focused on, really faith and family. And of course, we're all homeschoolers, so we definitely talk about the homeschooling part a bit. So you can go on to the next one there. So this is for our EBlast. So just sign up for that. Just go to our homepage there, thecanadianschoolhouse.com, and you can see actually on that page a whole bunch of different things. So sign up for our EBlast, get in on what we're doing on a weekly basis. And here you can also see this going to our homepage. We love for you to share your homeschooling life. We really, our mission with the Canadian Schoolhouse is really that we have a site by homeschoolers for homeschoolers. So all of us working in the background are homeschoolers and or have been homeschooled, like Barbori. She's not homeschooling any children herself, but she was raised with home education. So she's got lots of insight in that way. And we really just want to have there are so many things that you could share that would really speak to people that all of us actually working in the background here wouldn't be able to share in the same way. We've got lots of articles on the site already from other homeschoolers. So if you would like to do that, share your homeschooling life in any way, and there's so many different things, as you can find out when you look at our website and go to all our content sections. You can see the vast, just the variety, I should say, of articles we have on the site there. So go and check that out. And we give just a little bit of incentive to if you can contribute regularly and share a little bit about your homeschooling life regularly. We give out a giftogram card, which is kind of like, it's just a gift card, and you can use it at a whole bunch of different places if you're not familiar with giftograms. So and what do we have on next? So the homeschool review crew, that is, you can just go to that and see what that's all about. We really would like to grow our Canadian reviewers. So if you think you'd like to write reviews and get free products in the process, go and check that out. And then this is our BOGO shark sale, as we call it, for schoolhouseteachers.com. And this is your one-stop curriculum choice. I educate my kids from this site. I love the elective stuffs, but it has got everything covered. So you can go there. You're printing off some stuff. Some stuff is on video and interactive and stuff you would just do on the website, but lots of stuff to be able to print off and just have your workbook in front of your kids. So this is a buy one, get one free. So buy 1 year and get one free. So you just pay $199 US dollars for 1 year membership. This is for all kids, all ages. We go K to 12, actually right up to adulthood, because we have a little parent section, actually courses, lessons and stuff on that. So we've got so much on that site and so much community stuff going on that site. We've got a watch party coming up in the beginning of September. We'll be back to our regular story time, which takes a little break during the summer. And we've got lots of other just events for all the members there that are just fun to add in for your family. So we thank you very much for tuning in. Whether you're watching us live, we would really encourage you. Feel free to put comments in, talk to us. Share this video. If you happen to be watching live, you can share it right now, and it'll show up that it's going on, and people can join. But you can also share this recording as well. That you can see, help other people see what we're doing for homeschoolers here. So, and also, if you're not already liking or following our page, then you can do that. You can find us. You can probably, depending how you're watching this, whether on YouTube or Facebook, we're live streaming on both those platforms. So on YouTube, it's the Old Schoolhouse channel, where you're going to find all things from the Old Schoolhouse. And then on Facebook, you're going to find us by the Canadian Schoolhouse. And you'll find our page that way. And you'll also find a group if you'd like to be part of that, Homeschooling with the Canadian Schoolhouse. So after that nice little spiel about what we're doing as a company, let's see what we can be doing as homeschoolers. So Barbori, why don't you just start us off and just share us a little bit? I think Christine will put a link to that article in there so you can check it out. But what have you included in this article, and whatever else might come to mind on what we can do learning in the summer?
For sure. There's summer is a great time to, I guess, more have like a relaxed learning, whether that's being outside or actually including subject areas. Both of those are just really great to do during the summer. And so in the article, I've included some ways to incorporate the subjects for learning outdoors, and that includes math, science, history and geography, languages as well, and art. So there's there's lots of ways to incorporate those into outdoor learning. I guess some of the ideas for that would be, for example, for history, to go to a park maybe and just be at a picnic table, or bring a blanket and a picnic, and bring some books to read aloud from history, and just enjoy in that way being outdoors while learning about history. Or finding in your local area a historical park or village or historical site to go and visit, maybe as part of a day trip. So just different ways to kind of incorporate some relaxed learning in those ways while being outdoors during the summer.
And I really love the way you did the article, just with my mom perspective here, that for one thing, it's nice and short. Like, you covered actually a lot of different subjects and just gave some great ideas. Kind of how you explained, there's a few different subjects, whether it be like history, getting into language arts. I think you mentioned unit studies in there too. I should be reviewing that article again, so it's fresh in my mind. But just the different little ways that we can really incorporate different subjects. And actually, we can do that any time of the year. We can do that in the house and outside of the house and in the barn. on my little homestead here. So many ways that we can, I don't know, do that casual learning. And I don't know about you as far as remembering back to when you were learning as a homeschooler, when your parents were kind of teaching you. But I know even as a parent, and from my memory, it's like when I got to learn and it was just like more casual. It wasn't just it applied to maybe what I was doing. So I was outside. I love the things. I do that often when we're out. I always try to like grab those little historical things if we're out just walking trails somewhere, or we've moved recently. So we've got lots of opportunity to see kind of new history stuff around us.
Mhm.
And I think all around across Canada. Now I moved from Ontario to Saskatchewan. So I've got the perspectives maybe of those two provinces. And I've seen that in Saskatchewan where you
Mhm.
kind of just have I don't know what they're called. I feel like there's a certain name for it because I heard somebody talking about it recently, but almost like location markers. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
that you see the little outdoor plaques and
That's
really
right.
just give all kinds of information about, and you can find that you don't have to, there's no admission, these are just public
Mhm.
historical sites that we can visit and just glean all kinds of historic history from. And then I like that opportunity. I don't always do this. I should say I don't do it as much as I should. Because it's a really good opportunity to, when we're out somewhere and we just see something in history, well, now we can go home and we can research that, or we can find it in a book, right? Or look
Mhm.
online, or find videos about that. I
Yeah.
know we did that a little bit with Martin Luther. I don't know where that came up. It wasn't a historical marker out somewhere, I don't think, but something that kind of pinged that were about Martin Luther, back in the
Mhm.
not, as I tell my kids, it's like it's not Martin Luther King that was just in the what was he, early 1900s, where he was well known,
Mhm.
but Martin Luther way back in the 1500s, a real man that kind of reformed the Christian faith, or at least from
Yeah, for
the
sure.
Catholic
Yeah.
perspective, anyway. So,
But
um,
I guess sort of to add to that is that the learning outdoors can involve the whole family. So again, what else is included in the article are some links to other articles and ideas that the Canadian Schoolhouse has for activities like outdoor sort of family backyard Olympics, or maybe doing family scavenger hunt
mhm,
outdoors. And in that way, that's more like fun activities, but it also gives a chance for kids to sort of learn how to organize and plan activities and gets the whole family involved.
mhm,
But where you're mentioning sort of about like the history, and I find that that's also, it's not just for kids. I think it can be for parents too,
mhm.
especially when
Big
you
time.
go somewhere and you find those landmarks. Then it's something that parents can also be involved with the research. And
Mhm,
just to give a quick example, I'm in Alberta, and so there's the town of Banff, but close to Banff, there used to be a town called Bankhead, and so around that town there's a walk, and so that walk has different signs and photos from when the town was a town, which I think it was like for 20 years it was a town from 1904 to around 1920. And then after that, I went to the library and did some research, and there was a book so that I could then read. So in that way, I got to see like the actual sort of site where the town used to be. And then
mhm.
after that, I went and did more research. So just that you said that families can see the landmark and then go home and do more research. That's a great way to kind of incorporate both the outdoor learning and then take it sort of back home.
Mhm. And still, like as you said, like something that we can incorporate the whole family in. I
Yeah.
just love being able to do that. Whether it's just like me and my two boys, but more so when as far as my husband coming along and being able to either go out to those places, but we do that a lot at home. And he's actually got such a wealth of information in his head that he watches lots of different videos and that on. So sometimes I think he actually may know more more on history, definitely knows more on some subjects, but even
Mhm.
history, which seems like in some ways, or at least that's my perception of it before, it's like a little bit more of a book subject, and he's not a book kind of guy. In fact, most of his history learning though is from videos. So videos, documentaries, and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, right, is where he's gotten his most of his history learning from. And I'll say that I don't do a real history curriculum. I've maybe done a shorter little courses in from time to time throughout the years, but I've never really done a history curriculum. But we've really I take that learning opportunity as it comes. Even just seeing videos about something, it's like not the kids aren't always like super happy to watch a historical video, whether it be a documentary. They're less excited about a documentary, but there's actually lots of good videos that are sharing some history part. There may be some fiction involved in it, but that we can be able to learn from. And again, that we can find that video to get a little bit interested on the topic, and then maybe for my family anyway, then segue into the more real historical facts kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that how you said about what was the name of that town in Alberta where you
It's
said where
called
you were
Bankhead.
Bankhead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all this along so living in Saskatchewan now, I feel like I'm so close to Alberta and BC, where Ontario, of course, is like a day's drive. But
Mm-hmm.
we're definitely planning a trip. And I mean, that's another idea as well. Not that it's something you need to plan to say, oh, I'm going to do that this year, although you could. I know I'm not planning to do it this year, but I'd really like to do that next year. And really, I'm planning the trip, although I like to kind of do a road trip that's sort of like we can be open to go where we want. But I really want to do a road trip where we're actually finding these historical sites or just interesting sites, right? Usually the interesting sites like that are meaningful, they have some kind of history stuff with them. So I know I'm learning about a bit kind of going up northern Saskatchewan. So I think I'll probably travel that way. We'll go northern, go across
Yeah.
Alberta and hit BC somewhere.
Sure. That's the nice thing
Um,
about road trips too, is that there are many places to stop. Like not just historical places, but there can be farms and gardens, and so
yeah.
including stops or visits to farms and gardens can include learning about science and nature and sort of how things grow,
Mhm.
whether that's vegetables or fruits or herbs, or maybe it's going to farm and there will be farm animals. So that again kind of extends the learning, but also kind of makes it fun too. And yeah, and then math can also come in, depending sort of on the age of the kids. Sort of like budgeting, sort of
Oh yeah, that's great.
in that
Mhm.
respect. And so sort of different ways to do that. Or for art, um, sort of drawing, sort of doing on plein air painting, which is outdoor painting or drawing,
Oh,
or
okay.
even just stopping where there's like a nice view, taking a
Mhm.
photograph, and then maybe back at home, if one wants to turn that into a drawing or painting, then again, like you mentioned, that's a great way of sort of doing learning outside, but then taking it back home and working on it.
Mhm. Oh, and I can't help but that just popped in my head. We actually have we did, I think it was the first time we did it last year, but for schoolhouseteachers.com members, we have an art and photography fair. So there
Yes.
you go. Go take your photographs or make art out of it, right? Take the photograph and
Mm-hmm.
make art out of it. Make some kind of type of painting or drawing. And we have a fair all for members happening in, hmm, do you know when, Barbary? I know Christine knows.
I think it's starting. I think it's starting submissions open beginning of September and going to October.
I know it's not quite yet because I didn't see it in my dashboard, in the schoolhouse teachers dashboard. Oh, there we go. September 12th to October 28th. Oh, that's a good long time.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I'm looking forward to getting my boys involved with that. I sort of feel like photography might be more their thing, but maybe maybe doing art. I love the idea of my boys doing art more, and even with outside encouragement, like outside inspiration, that's more the word I'm looking for. Um there's so many opportunities to do different things with art, right? But I'm probably a
Hmm.
little more artsy than my boys are.
But there's even and um, one can sort of appreciate like the colors in nature.
Mm,
But there's so many things as well just to notice, like patterns, looking at the different shapes and sizes and
yeah.
patterns of leaves on plants. And there are different textures in nature as well. So that can sort of be really interesting for kids to kind of find those different textures and objects as well.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to be outside today and thinking about this stuff. I one of the things we're actually doing, so we saw this DIY project for making a solar panel, so a real working solar panel. Like I'm not one to put up on my house. I don't think it's super durable. But if it's in a protected area, you can use this solar power to just power a radio or a few lights
yeah.
or um, I don't know exactly how much the kilowatts and everything. I'm kind of learning about that. But you make this solar power actually with CDs. So the reflectiveness of the CDs, I guess, is you're able to transfer that into solar energy and be able to. We'll see if we can store it. I would imagine you can. My husband thinks you can, and he knows way more about that than I do at this point. But um, yeah, where there's like kind of a cool outside project. So I don't have a link for that, but search that DIY solar panels. And with CDs, you could actually buy little panels as well, that are actually the solar photovoltaic um, panels that they really use and make a really much more durable one like you could buy. But there's a
Hmm.
good summertime project. Although that should work all winter long because the sun's always there, but making a
True.
little solar panel would be really neat.
Yeah, no, for
Uh,
sure.
so hopefully
Yeah.
we're going to do that today. I'm going to bring up a few. You actually provided lots of links to, and you talked about some of those already. But there's lots of links in this article, the summer learning in the outdoors, um, and it uh, and links to several other articles we have on the Canadian schoolhouse, and I think there might be to other parts of the old schoolhouse as well. Maybe it's just all through. You remember that? Is it all just stuff on our site, or do you have links to magazine articles and that as well?
I believe it's all on the Canadian Schoolhouse site. Yeah.
Yeah. So we
Hmm.
have a lot of content on there already, a lot
Yes.
of ideas for you to different things to do in the summer. So I know
Hmm.
Barbara mentioned these like the family backyard Olympics. We've got backyard summer adventures, the five senses of summer scavenger hunt. That is a really unique spin on the scavenger hunt. Definitely check that one
Hmm.
out. And then the Hey Mama summer family summer activities. And this one actually has this article, this Hey Mama article has so this is by Gina Suarez, who is the publisher of the Old Schoolhouse. And she regularly writes these Hey Mama articles for the well, for different areas, for the Homeschooling Minute, which is another weekly email we send out, and
Hmm.
also for just on the Homeschooling with Heart blog. So I think this one came from the blog that we just reprinted, or maybe on a Homeschooling Minute. But one is making ice cream. And now we can make ice cream all year long, but this is a magazine, an article from the magazine that is actually the title of it in the magazine is Sweet Summer Learning, uh, which is very nice. Um, but talking about different making ice cream, and now making ice cream, of course, is a really good motivator. My one son was just saying how we needed to pick up ice cream today, and I told him, ice cream is not a staple food for us. We don't need it just because we ran out of ice cream. We don't need ice cream right away. He didn't agree with that, but I I thought we need to get making ice cream because not only
Hmm.
is that a really rewarding treat um, to make that, but it is also pretty it's got a lot of elements on knowing how, like knowing about the cream and how that's
Listening.
changing. Like you've got chemical changes happening, right? You've got science in
Hmm.
there. You've got just life skills in making
Exactly.
food. I've
Hmm.
actually just started on I haven't done this too much regularly, but getting into making yogurt and sour cream and just all kinds of different cultured
Yeah.
dairy products
Hmm.
that I've been making in the kitchen, and the boys are getting in on learning
Yeah. And I
that
think.
yeah, that process, and not just the process too, but again, knowing I really find, especially with milk, there's so many things we get from milk, right? Like
Hmm.
God just
That's
gave
right.
us this this really nutritious drink. Like it can be just a drink. I don't drink it very much myself, but I did when I was younger. It's not
Hmm.
that I don't like milk. I guess I just drink different stuff. But with milk, and even the same with eggs, I find that amazing with eggs. How many different things you can do with eggs, and we got fresh eggs right from our chickens on our farm here.
That's fantastic.
And we
Hmm.
pick up, but the different things you can do with the egg yolks and the different properties they have. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can use eggs for, like as a leavening agent. Obviously, the egg whites getting fluffy, making meringues and lots of different stuff out of that, right? Like
Hmm.
in the eggs themselves, just that you can do so many different things with that I think, well, gosh, if we didn't have eggs, would we even be able to make some of these things that are almost like a
True.
regular um, mainstay? And I know there is like dairy free or vegan kind of
Mhm.
options almost for everything. So you can certainly have options outside of that. But it's just to me, it's like a very cool, like a God realization that He gave us all this stuff just to provide for us. And
For sure. And I
um,
think that's one of the nice things about making, um, I guess, foods, if you will, like ice cream at home, is
mhm,
that it allows for creativity. And by that, I mean in flavors. So you might be able to
mhm,
experiment with flavors at home that you might not necessarily find at a store where you might buy it. And then the
yeah.
other advantage to making those recipes at home is that you can adjust the sweetness or even the
Mhm,
type of sweetness that goes into the recipe. So, and that way it can be perfect for each family, which is
mhm.
really, really awesome.
I think that's probably what I do the most in lots of the homemade stuff. And the reason I do it the most is that I can control the ingredients that are in there. And
Mhm.
whether it's the sweetness or preservatives, I mean, I make almost all my own. Once in a while I buy some stuff if I want some buns and I don't really have the time to make them, or
Yeah.
the odd time I'll buy things. But for the most part, I make all our bread products now, right? And that's
Hmm.
like English muffins and loaves of bread, obviously,
Yeah.
and buns and
Hmm.
flatbreads and all that kind of stuff. Um, but for that main reason that I want to control the kind of flour that's used as well
That's
as
right.
the preservatives. Now, of course, all that nice home baked stuff doesn't last quite as many days as
Mhm.
store bought, but I guess that's kind of the point. Um, and there's something you just said, and I wanted to ask you about that, Barbary. You're just talking about making. Oh, if you have you made ice cream? Have you done that before at
Yes, I
home?
have. Yeah, at home. Yeah.
And
Um,
what was the method? Like, it don't need necessarily a step by step. I'm just wondering how you did, because I just bought a mixer recently. So, for instance, there's an attachment you can get to make ice cream, but
yeah.
I've never really made it before. I know you can make it without the ice cream, like without the mixer attachment, without a machine, but
Yeah. I guess my family's been sort of experimenting a little bit as well with different ways to make it. And so being able to sort of find like a dairy-free recipe as well
oh, cool.
that uses more like almond butter. So again, if family has allergies, then
Mm,
they might need to use something else besides almond butter, but that's sort of what makes it creamy. And then
mm.
we use sort of different fruit, and then I think we put it into I want to say oh boy, I don't know if it's blender or food processor right now. But from there, then we put it into the freezer. And then it's true that when it's taken out of the freezer, then it kind of maybe melts more quickly than if it would be like a regular ice cream.
Yeah.
But it still tastes really good and it's homemade. It's just a nice, simple recipe to make. And it's
Mm.
really refreshing on those hot summer days, which has been really good for this summer because it's been so hot. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And to have that you can just whip it together because you did that recipe, right? That we just put on the site
Yes.
recently.
Is it on the site? It's the blueberry and
I
pineapple.
know, I'm just thinking, is it has it published yet? Because I see this stuff beforehand. Um, so if it is published, if you get a chance, Christine, and you can find that and see if it's published or it might be published soon. But that was a blueberry pineapple. Is that
Yes.
the
Yeah.
two things you put together? And then the almond butter, because I remember asking about that. Like, is this, how does this work to work together? And you mentioned that about the almond butter helps to make it a little
Yeah.
little bit creamy without it actually
Mhm.
having the cream, the dairy
That's right, dear.
dairy
Yeah.
product of it, right? And I thought that was a really neat recipe. I haven't tried that one yet, but it's on my to try list because I want to try out this different. Again, I want to make ice cream because it's something that we eat regularly. I actually really do want to make it more at home. A lot for the, oh, cool, she did find it and it's live. Um, yeah, and it's actually a beautiful picture that's on there. I know the picture didn't come right from what you made. It was what our graphic designer found for it, but I thought that was a perfect, like it looks just like that. It looks like that blue, almost like the blueberry and pineapple together, right?
Mhm.
Does that picture actually compare to the consistency, if that's the right term for the
Yes.
frozen? But
Yeah.
like it still kind of holds together in a
It
scoop
is.
and you
Yeah.
can,
Mhm.
yeah, cool. Uh, that's a really good idea. And I mean, we tend to buy ones that are chocolatey or that have
Mhm.
chunks of chocolate in it
Yeah.
or peanut butter. Oh, we really
Mhm.
love the ones with peanut butter in it. So I'd love to experiment with that, but I like that one, that it's just fruity. And so I'll
Mhm.
maybe ask you one more question about it.
For sure.
So you mentioned almond butter, but almond butter is quite similar to peanut butter in the consistency. Do you think if I use peanut butter in that same recipe in place of the almond butter, have you ever tried that, or do you think it would be okay to give it a bit of
Mhm.
that?
Yeah, I'm sure it would be fine to experiment
Ah,
with that and give that a try.
they're
That's
kind of
kind of what learning is
close.
all about, and the different tastes
Yeah.
there, trying those out. Um, yeah, I would say so. Hmm.
Uh-huh. And so then, and you mix that in a like either a blender or a food processor, one of
Yes,
those two, right? But you have
it's
to.
in the recipe. I think there's the instructions. So
Mhm. Oh, okay. Well, however you did it there, then we'll remember. Now it's kept for prosperity. It'll be on the site forever.
yeah,
Um,
no, it's good.
yeah, that's awesome. I think the ice cream one, that sounds like a perfect note to end on our talk
Hmm.
for summer learning, because I think like the ice cream is you should really, any learning should end in a nice bowl of ice cream that
Yes,
you've made yourself. So
for sure. It sounds great. I love that.
uh-huh. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Barbary. I'm so glad that you shared a little bit what was in the article. Really glad that we got to talk about that ice
Hmm.
cream article, dairy-free ice cream, how it is on our site there, and just different ways that we can make family time really kind of a learning experience. So,
Yes.
uh, thanks so much, Barbary, and thanks
Thank you.
everyone for joining us. We'll see you again. Bye.